Welcome to the last episode of the Trends of 2021 for China. I hope you liked this series so far. It's been a lot about business trends, consumer trends. I talked about inclusion, I talked about sustainability, about the new regulation. This last episode is all about the digital currency in China. How China is going to go into a 2.0 of digital payment and how that will impact the world, specifically on trade. Now, the last trend that I want to talk about, the digital currency. And the digital currency is something a lot of people have been talking about lately, and this is a new form of payment, digital payment, which is taking shape in China first. Of course, we all know about the digital currency 1.0. This was mobile payment and later on face payment, but now if you look at mobile payment in 2019, China was already light years ahead of the rest of the world. Everybody in the urban cities was paying cashless these days. And this was before the pandemic. Of course, we caught up during the pandemic, but China was way ahead. And then there was face payments. I mean, this was really showing the world like we are faster and more ahead on digital payments. But now this is going to the next level. It's going to digital currency or digital payments 2.0. What that means is that the central government in Beijing, the central bank, the People's Bank of China, has issued or is issuing a digital currency which they're piloting in different cities now, and that was created from Beijing. And this is two big differences with before the mobile payment. One is that the money is sitting on your phone. It's not sitting in a bank account anymore, where Alipay or WeChat Pay used to be just a transfer of different balance accounts. Now it's really sitting on your phone and you can transfer it from your phone. So that's a big difference. The other thing is that it's centralized. It's convertible with the renminbi, the Chinese currency, one-on-one. So that is just like real cash money. There's no more difference. It's what Beijing wants. Now, the concept behind, the technology behind is very similar to crypto. But we're making a mistake when we think about crypto, thinking actually about blockchain or thinking about anonymous. The central bank digital currency is not anonymous. What that means is that you will get that money in your account or on your phone, but it will be real name registered, which means the government knows it, your employer knows it, the bank knows it, people who are giving you that money or who are accepting the money know that money comes from you. The interesting thing there is that it's mandatory. What that means is that if you have digital currency on your phone and you want to pay a vendor, the vendor will have to accept it. He cannot say no. With WeChat or Alipay, he can still say, no, I want real cash. But with this currency, it's actually an official way of payment because it's similar to cash. The other misunderstanding is that it's not on the blockchain. A lot of people think that because crypto is blockchain enabled, that this digital currency would be on the blockchain. But the problem is, that's just millions and millions, hundreds of millions of transactions per second happening on WeChat and Alipay. It would be impossible for the blockchain to cope with that. It would be just too slow. So blockchain is not the technology used. It's another technology, very similar, much more similar to what banks are using today. And the important thing is it's centralized, while the blockchain is a decentralized system. We're seeing the first digital currency centralized taking shape in China, and this will go into many, many countries who will follow this example. They've launched it this year as pilots, and next year it should go officially into every city. It's not clear yet when, but it's expected in 2021. That's why it's a big trend for 2021. Right now they're piloting it in Suzhou and a few other cities, where they've given millions of euros in red envelopes away for free money, 15 euro per piece. And so people just got free digital currency on their phone, and the idea was then to start using it in the stores, and all the stores in Suzhou, there was 3,000 of them, where you could actually use that digital currency already. And so this started this whole machine, this momentum, but it's kind of slow, and the reason it's slow is because people have an alternative today. Their alternative is Alipay and WeChat Pay. And so people need to switch to this new thing. And so what's happening now is that the banks and Alipay and WeChat Pay and everybody's working together, because the big difference is the central bank is issuing this currency. The normal banks are actually then distributing it to the people. And so the banks are central to that distribution channel, just like in normal cash transactions happens. And so Alipay and WeChat Pay will start using this digital currency, and once they do, this will start going faster and faster and faster. And they have to do it because there's going to be so much more transactions happening because of this digital currency, specifically if we think about trade, that they will want to be part of it. But the most important is that this is a second chance for banks, because they missed the digital currency era completely. I mean, they were way behind. They did it better than in the Western banks, but still they were way behind to Alipay and WeChat Pay, which had like more than 85% of the market. It was a duopoly, still is today. And so the banks with the digital currency now have a second chance. Finally, what's important to know is that this is going to be starting to be used for trade. And so China, being the biggest exporter in the world, once they go onto this blockchain with Trustpool and other system where all the contracts and everything will be managed through trade, through the blockchain in a safe way, a cheap way, an efficient way, then adding digital currency on top of it will be very easy. And so for any foreign company doing business in China already, or buying things from China and selling to China, swapping in digital currency will be quite natural because it's going to be cheaper and faster to do these transactions. This will become a competitor of the SWIFT system, the Belgium SWIFT system, which regulates monetary payments over the world. The US dollar is going to get affected. Now, the People's Bank of China is trying with a lot of effort to say, you shouldn't worry, the US dollar will remain the main currency. We're not trying to compete, and these stories are getting out everywhere because they don't want the West to be worried too much. But the problem is they can't avoid it, because the reality is that traders will want to use it because it's much more efficient. And so where now maybe it's like 18% of all the trade happening in Chinese currency, this could easily go up to 20, 30, 40, 50% maybe even, and that's to the loss of the US dollar and other currencies. The digital currency is the new way of payments for the future for everyone, not just the Chinese, but China has started setting the standard globally. And so it's quite interesting to look at how China is creating this new disruption in the financial market and the way we are going to live our lives. So that's it, we're done. We had all the trends for 2021 that I shared in a series of 6 videos on Pascal's China Lens. Now, the last one was about digital currency. I personally am a very, very big believer that this will really change the way that we do payments and do transactions and do trade globally. Also, specifically in China, it will be a big change, but I'm sure the world will follow the example, or I could even say the standard that China is setting today. Hope to see you next week for another episode on Pascal's China Lens.